Yeah, we'll go through phases, and this has been true to my world in my life. Is I'll go through sprints. I'll go through a new phase of a launch or a new product or some phase where 3, 4, 5, 6 months it's all out work all the time, all day, every day, and then we'll get caught up, and then okay, now let's take a breath and we'll chill out for a little while and pull the pace back and spend a lot more time focused on the kids and the family. And
welcome to the special From the Flight Deck episode of the Flying High podcast. Hang out behind the scenes with Travis and the crew as they chat about highlights from last week's episode, and hilarity is sure to ensue.
So you mentioned having to go over and beyond in the service because of the type of people that you're catering to, and I know that was something that came up in the episode with Chris, because the people that are buying those exotic cars, man, they're a little different from your average Joe buying the F-150. And so were you seeing some similarities as you were having that conversation with him in the exotic car world and the private aircraft industry?
Yeah, like his client base is my client base, in a huge overlapping way. And so he's having to focus on the same type of customer service stuff that we are. For one thing, if I was Chris, I would just have me like a tent set up in the middle of that warehouse. Dude, this is freaking epic. The supercars all over the place and just cool stuff. And his whole spin on the digital car market with how he's doing the Design Auto platform and honing it in on specific supercars. And what's I think is cool about the way he's doing it that leads into that being able to service your customer is our customers don't want to spend days and days and days filtering through all this garbage to find what they want. They want a direct path to what they want. And the way he's setting it up, for one, the platform only has those type of cars on it, so it's already filtered down quite a lot. And then the people that you're dealing with on there know those product lines. So if they're trying to pick between this particular Ferrari and this Ferrari, and you call Joe Blow car dealer that's not used to dealing with them, he's not going to know the nuances about what's different between the two cars or why this one's 150,000 more than this one, or and the way he's honed it all in there, he's servicing his customers by giving them the resources they need to get to a decision in the shortest time possible and feeling comfortable that they're making the right decision. So I think he's on a good track with it. And, I went on his website and the Design Auto deal and played around with the filters and stuff on there and found several cars I really like.
Nice. Which one stood out the most?
Dude, I'm jonesing for a 488 is what I want. I want a Ferrari 488, and I want to wait until I can do it in a way that is like, I don't know how to explain it, but where it's not impactful, so I can just go enjoy it. I don't want one to sit in the garage and, ooh, here's my baby, my precious. I want one. To me, those cars are meant to be drove. So
it'll be your daily driver.
Exactly. Oh, I'm gonna daily my 488. But it's also, I'm a big believer in not getting the dopamine rush from, there's this whole thing that's going around about if you go and sample something, you kind of hit your dopamine rush of now you feel like you've achieved it subconsciously, so it ebbs your desire to go get it anymore. So, that for that reason, like when I go to any of the supercar tracks or any of that stuff, like I'll go drive the Corvettes, I'll go drive a Lambo, whatever, but I won't drive a 488 until I own it. It's just, and it's a great car. It does a lot of cool stuff, but it's not anything super special as far as performance. There's other cars that perform better and all this. I just think it looks like artwork on wheels, man. I just love it. I just think it's a really cool car, and I'll get one soon enough.
Nice.
I have to go to Design Auto and order me a 488.
Hey, what's your dream car, man?
Cummins hood stack.
And we're back.
I'm kidding.
You did grow up on a feed lot, man.
I haven't put much thought
Cummins
into
with
it.
a hood stack, huh?
Yeah, I was joking about the hood stack.
No, you weren't.
Yeah, depends. Maybe not on my daily,
A lot of truth is said in jest.
I haven't put much thought into it, to be honest with you. I mean, my goal is a plane. I want a plane. You know?
What's your dream plane?
I would like a King Air. I know there's nicer planes, and you can get. Of course, everyone wants a Gulfstream. You think about what you want. Yeah, a Gulfstream. But as far as just a plane, a King Air, you can't beat it. It can go anywhere. It can haul a lot. relatively in the aviation world, cheap to maintain. You know, I mean, it's just a good all-around plane. Like, it'd be
It's
awesome.
the F-150 of planes.
Yeah, it's the Suburban. Texas Suburban. You know, it's something where I can say, you know, my wife, her family's from Idaho. Go get on our plane. Go. See you in a week. You know, that's what I want. So cars haven't really been a thought in my head. I want to go straight to a King Air.
Meanwhile, he's texting me pictures of G4s last night, trying to convince me to buy a G4. So
I figured a man of Travis's status would be fine with getting a G4, but
right.
You know,
we're going to be rocking a G4. We're going to get one of those going. We have another little sub company or whatever you want to call it that we're trying to build this community where we're called the King Air Cowboys, and we have like this logo of a King Air with like a cowboy guy riding on it, and it's so in this part of the world we have a ton of King Airs here, so we've spent a huge amount of our time building this whole brand and reputation around King Airs, and a lot of our guys are super good on King Airs, so it's a really common airframe for us to mess around with in the Panhandle area because of that utilitarian nature of it. It's nice, it's fast, it's luxurious, but it's also on the cheaper end to maintain. And then around here we have a lot of small runways, so it's really good for short runways in and out. And in the smaller categories of, well, in all airplanes, but particularly in the smaller categories, you've got to really worry about weight and balance on them. And King Airs are just, their useful load on them is phenomenal. You can, you know, get into a King Air 200 and you just essentially can, whatever you can fit in the door, you can haul that thing and not worry too much about it. So it doesn't surprise me that that's his dream plane, being his favorite car he owns is a 1990.
No, it's a 2005 Suburban.
Is that new? He has an old school Suburban that he mobs around that he thinks is the coolest car.
I don't think it is the coolest, man.
Nice.
It rides so nice.
And his second favorite car is a Camry, so.
Old reliable.
But hey, we can't leave out the fact that you used to rock the
1979 Monte Carlo lowrider, bro.
The high dude. Monte Carlo.
Yeah, I had a Radical Air suspension on it with the long lead and the trick box. It would do all the moves. It would do from pancake frame on the ground to all four tires off the ground, 6 inches, awesome. One hit. It was nice. So I missed that.
We could get you loaded up with a new Monte Carlo.
Yeah. It was so violent, bro.
Luxury cars nowadays, huh?
Yeah, so when I was 11, I've got a rich uncle, and he came to Christmas, and he had a Jaguar, and we all went outside, and it had, you know, the phone in the console, you know, so we all, like, called the house from the car, felt like we were in the future.
Yeah.
But I remember, like, just being fascinated. You couldn't even tell it was running. It was so quiet, you know?
Right.
And I got bit by the luxury car at that time, man. So, yeah, I think dream car would probably be in the Rolls-Royce fam.
Yeah.
But, yeah, the lowrider was fun, man, because you'd crank it up, and it would be so violent, dude.
Yeah.
But then, man, you turn that pressure down, and it was like butter, bro, just so smooth, you know? It's pretty sweet.
There's a guy here in town that does, like, he rebuilds classic cars and stuff, and he's doing a vehicle for us right now. And I went down there to check on it the other day, and he had a Phantom sitting in there that they were detailing, and they had it under the lights doing the ceramic on it, dude. Pretty freaking epic car.
Nice.
Badass. Yeah.
Dude, I love even just the way the door closes on those, man. It's just like so perfect, dude. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, they're pretty wild. You don't realize how big they are until you're around them too. They're a big car. But had all like the star headliner and all that crap in it, and probably not my speed of car, but I appreciate it as a badass car.
I mean, it's no Camry.
It's no Camry. Let's just talk about a reliable car right now. The Camry's it, you know.
He's not utilitarian at all. Suburbans and Camrys.
I mean, it's like the King Air. I mean, you just can't kill them. They just keep going and keep going and keep going.
That's true.
You'll have your King Air 200 and your Camry and your Suburban, and I'll have my 488 and my Challenger sitting there. So
it's all right. Yeah, I'll be happy if I get a King Air.
Hey, you'll get one. You keep doing what we're doing, you'll have one.
I'm efficient. King Airs and Camrys.
Yeah. Dude, I feel like that's a rap song. King Airs and Camrys. That sounds like an album, bro.
Yeah. Dropping next week.
This episode is brought to you by Haven ASG. Looking to buy your first private aircraft or upgrade your current bird? Travis and the team at Haven Aviation Services Group has you covered. From finding the jet of your dreams to selling your old model, our expert brokerage teams handle every detail, connecting you to the right deal for the right aircraft every time. Visit havenasg.com/flyinghigh today for your custom experience to begin. Again, that's havenasg.com/flyinghigh, or just click the link in the show notes. Now back to the show.
That was something I took away from that interview you did with Chris about. I liked how y'all brought up the concept of back in the day, it was like you couldn't be a successful businessman and have a healthy family, that's working well together and everyone's enjoying life and, take care of your fitness and all the different things. And you had mentioned that you felt like you had observed a shift in culture towards, and I think, you say just balance, but in all those areas, man, talk to us some more about that.
Well, we got into that with Chris and got into my disdain for the work-life balance conversation. A very quick way to get kicked out of an interview with me is to bring up work-life balance. Honestly, the way that Mr. Kimball described it about breathing, I think that's the best way to explain it, man. It was so awesome. Chris and I were very aligned on our concept of it, that you can do it all. But I've never heard anybody articulate it like Mr. Kimball did, where he talks about it's just like life cycles of everything, and it's like breathing. You can only breathe in so long, and then you need to breathe out. And so, yeah, we'll go through phases, and this has been true to my world in my life. Is I'll go through sprints. I'll go through a new phase of a launch or a new product or some phase where 3, 4, 5, 6 months it's all out work all the time, all day, every day, and then we'll get caught up, and then, okay, now let's take a breath, and we'll chill out for a little while and pull the pace back and spend a lot more time focused on the kids and the family. And I think the important part on that whole thing, though, is setting the expectations within your family structure on understanding that's the way our life's going to have to be if we want to do the things we want to do. We're not going to go punch a 9-to-5 clock and have a quote-unquote normal work life. You can't do all the things we want to do on that kind of a deal, but that doesn't mean that you can't have a good quality family life. You just have to change the way that you look at it from what maybe a more traditional society way of looking at it would be. And I think having that conversation with your spouse, preferably before there's kids involved,
right?
Maybe preferably before there's a wedding ring involved, and and if you're already married and already got kids, and then you're going to go into that entrepreneurial lifestyle, having that conversation up front that, hey, it's maybe a couple years of me doing a lot of work. And I think as long as there's good communication and good alignment within the family about the expectations out of it, from what I've seen with most people, their spouses get on board and they help. And in our circumstance, the first business that we operated, my wife was completely uninvolved from the business. She had no clue what was going on. She stayed home with the kids. It was hard on her because she didn't understand all the turmoil of the ups and downs of the business. And, and I'd come home and be like stressed out about something or worried about something, and she didn't have the context to understand it. So it would just freak her out and think, oh no, what's happening? And so whenever we went in on the second business venture, we agreed from the beginning that she was going to be heavily involved with it. And now she's an extremely key piece of the business. Like if something happened to me, she could keep that whole thing running. Like she knows every inch of it. I would say there's a lot of it she knows more than I do. She's more granular on the details of what's actually happening than me on a lot of it. And it's been a game changer for us on our marriage. I know a lot of people think being with your spouse all day at work and then home at night, and then I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but it's been a blessing for us, and it's been a key. And I think her and I being aligned and working together to the same goal has actually made our marriage a lot better and made us stronger. And it's, I think, a key piece of what's making the company successful is that I don't have to worry about, oh shit, it's 6 o'clock, I need to get home and my wife's going to be pissed. And the guys that deal with that part of it, I don't know how you build a business out of alignment with your home life on that.
Oh man, yeah, that'd be rough.
Mm-hmm.
So do you say you're in like a sprint right now, or in more of a chill mode?
If we're being honest, just my personal DNA, I don't really have a chill mode.
I gotcha. That's what I was thinking.
Like, honestly, where the business is at and the team I have around us and all the people we have in place, if I was wired with the chill mode, I could. and we could have a nice business and it would be fine. It would make money and it would roll along. That's just not what I want out of life. I'll probably be in sprint mode until they throw dirt on me. So
gotcha.
I just like being busy. It's not, to me, what's stressful is trying to go sit on a beach for a couple of days. Like, I hate that. I don't want to do that. I'm doing what I love, what I'm passionate about. We've got a lot of employees now. Super important to me is every decision that I'm involved in and what direction we're pushing the company or where we're going with it is affecting putting those guys and gals putting food on their plate for their kids and taking care of their families, and to be a part of building a work environment and a culture that they enjoy coming to work and being able to earn a living and taking care of their families is really important to me. And obviously I'm biased, but I think we do a better job than most. And so the more growth I can develop within our company, the more of those people I can bring within our culture and be a part of taking care of them. And that's way more important to me than taking time to go chill out and take personal time. And, and I do get phases where I get like, okay, I need a break. I can take a break for a couple of days, but it's pretty limited for me. I thrive on energy and chaos and running and not everyone's that way, but I think you would find the vast majority of people that have built something really substantial are wired that way.
Makes sense. I mean, otherwise everybody would be building something.
Mm-hmm.
So what's kind of your wiring, man? I'm just kind of getting to know you. And so how do you engage the work around the family, navigate all that?
I've had that conversation with my wife. She definitely understands that aviation is kind of it's never a fight when I get home late. Of course, I try to do the give or take. If I'm out late 5 nights in a row, I try to get home a little early on the 6th night if I can. If I cannot, I can't. As far as just, I'm very results driven. I like to see stuff get completed across the goal line. You see so many things get 90% done, 80% done. And I myself am notorious for getting stuff 80% done, which is bad. So I really got to push myself to get that other 100, that other 20% to get to that 100%. But once it's there, that's the reward of it. That's what I strive for. That's my motivation. Nice. Seeing the stuff that we've implemented, grow the company, and get it across the line and go, man, that has really helped us,
Heck yeah.
That is awesome for us. So that's kind of my driver.
It's one of the things we're working on within our organization right now is, so Hermosi made this really good analogy about, I'm pretty sure it was Hermosi that did it, made this analogy about all these businesses with these half-built bridges everywhere. So you spend all these time and resources to build this new thing that everyone's all excited about, and you get the bridge halfway built, and then actually I'd rather go over there. So then you go spend all these time and resources to build part of a bridge over here, and then the next thing you zoom out and you've got like 20 useless bridges because they're only half built. And so we had a little bit of that going on. So
are we talking about Dallas right now?
Exactly. It looks just like Dallas. That's a good example of it. So we kind of took a step back and reevaluated all these half-built bridges that we have, and that's a big part of what we got Chris on right now is, hey, that bridge is 60%, go finish it. Hey, that one's 90%, go finish it, and kind of prioritizing those and getting them usable to 100% because we've already got so much time and resources tied up in them. And there's a few that we have time and energy and resources tied up in that we're like, yeah, that was stupid. Let's cut our losses and not build that bridge. We don't need that bridge anymore. So it's kind of going around and evaluating that, but I'm a visual person, so I like that visual of all these partially built things that just kind of accumulate. You get some momentum going on them, and then you lose a little momentum. Instead of pushing through that, you switch to the new exciting widget, and having the discipline to stick on that. So I've actually got this thing I wrote out that I've got taped on the bottom of my computer right now. Dave Anderson quote that says, "The only alternative to discipline is disaster." And so that one's just right there. So every time I want to go chase the new shiny thing, I'm like, nope, we're going to stick with this. Just like he said, I'm a high-level guy. I like the big picture, the vision, and getting a project up and going and getting some steam behind it and then handing it off. If I'm not careful to kind of make sure that gets to 100%, I'll hand it off at 60%, and then Chris will get it to 80%, and then if he don't finish it, it'll die. So just having the discipline to see things through to the very end is super important.
Yeah.
This episode is brought to you by Haven ASG. Looking to buy your first private aircraft or upgrade your current bird? Travis and the team at Haven Aviation Services Group has you covered. From finding the jet of your dreams to selling your old model, our expert brokerage teams handle every detail, connecting you to the right deal for the right aircraft every time. Visit havenasg.com/flyinghigh today for your custom experience to begin. Again, that's havenasg.com/flyinghigh, or just click the link in the show notes. Now back to the show.
Freaking allergies are killing me today. Yeah. Like, woke up this morning all draining and sneezing, and welcome to the panhandle. But anyway, the last year that Chris was in that GM role, you know, that's been a big part of his initiative, is building that team up and hiring people. So, you know, and we are dealing with a A&P technician shortage right now. It seems to be getting worse and worse every year. And the latest report that came out shows there's not really an end in sight, because the aviation market is trending up. There's more people flying, more aircraft out there. A lot of the technicians that are in the workforce out there right now are like 65 years old or north of 55, and so we got a lot of them retiring out at a higher rate than we're replacing them with. So we're not even fully replacing the retirement rate.
Dang.
And we've got a growing market, so it's leading to this shortage. So it's going to be a real challenge going forward in the aviation world. On the, you know, the pilot shortage gets a lot of attention, and it's valid. It's getting a little better right now. But the technician shortage doesn't get the attention it needs, because you can't fly an airplane if you don't got the guys to maintain it. So you wind up with aircraft stuck in shops for a lot longer than they should be, waiting a lot longer to get maintenance than they need to. And so from a customer experience and owner experience, having an airplane, it's an important piece, because you need access to your airplane and you need it safe. It sucks for them. And then as a business owner trying to run a maintenance shop, it's a whole different competitive environment, because now, due to that shortage, you have rising technician wages, so they're getting more money because they're becoming more scarce. Meanwhile, what the market will bear on the customers to pay for that service is shrinking, so it's tightening margins in there.
Dang.
And what I'm concerned about is, at some point in time, that squeeze that's happening is going to cause people to start taking shortcuts and not doing maintenance to the degree they need to. And I hope I'm wrong and we find a solution, but I've got a growing concern that we may see an uptick in accident rates and incident rates and stuff like that that are maintenance related. Because of that, we have these really experienced people retiring out, and then you've got new people coming in and not enough of them. So hopefully we get the trend corrected somewhere. So what I know we're doing, and I've seen a few other facilities doing it, is bringing in fresh A&Ps and then partnering them with a more senior technician and kind of doing an apprenticeship program with them, and trying to transfer that skill and knowledge from those older technicians as best as we can. And you know, if you got one older, more experienced technician, and you put 2 apprentices under them, and they do a good job of training in a formalized way where they're imparting that knowledge on them, it's helping to build that skill back up. And the other thing is, a lot of the aircraft in the network right now are older than they initially expected them to be. It's not uncommon to have a 1970s, 1980s airplane. Well, we hired a guy the other day that was born in like 2004 or something. I about puked. I was like, holy crap, I'm old. But what year were you born, speaking of that?
94.
He's an old one.
Ouch.
Well, dude, we're hiring people born after the 2000s. And then we're putting them on aircraft that are...
Yeah, you ain't lying. That's crazy. If you're under 25, you're...
Mm-hmm. It's hard to believe, huh?
That's kind of blowing my mind right now.
So you're hiring a guy that was born in 2002, and then you're putting him on working on an aircraft from 1985. The reason that matters is a lot of those aircraft still have the original avionics and stuff in them. And so he's grown up in a digital world, doesn't know anything different, and then you put him on something with vacuum tubes in it or something, and he's like, what the hell is this? He don't even know what he's looking at.
Right.
And those guys that were really, really good with that, they're the ones that are retiring out. So it's going to force some changes in the industry. We'll just see how they all play out, and some of it is going to have to be absorbed by the cost going up to the customer, unfortunately, and some of it is going to be we're going to have to learn how to gain some efficiencies within the business to get more time out of the technicians that we do have. And I think, you know, the days of it used to be really common that every little airport you would go to, there'd be at least a couple of mechanics on the field. Even if it was just a mom and pop shop, there was at least someone there to help you. And that's vanishing. Like, there's not many of those left anymore. And so now it's going to these bigger, more consolidated shops. And then to compete for that talent pool that's out there, you have to be a pretty big shop, turning pretty big volume to pay the wages that is necessary. And then figuring out that culture piece that, yeah, we have to pay X amount because that's the market rate, but what other things are you bringing to the table? Or do you care about your employees? Do you actually care about their families? Do you care about what they want out of life? Or are you just a serial number 2, 3, 4 and clock in and clock out at this time? And so I think it's going to get more, and the younger guys are also more in tune in broad strokes. They're more concerned about all these intangibles outside of just a salary. Their work-life balance.
I knew it was coming.
Their work-life balance matters, but I don't minimize that does matter. I just hate the terminology because of the implications people put behind it. But culture is super important, I mean, all the way around. So
yeah, as you were coming in and like tightening that up and restructuring, like what were some of your strategies in that?
I don't know if there was a strategy. I just kind of went with it, you know. If I saw something that I thought needed fixed, I would just laser in on that and go till it was fixed, and till it was fixed the way I thought it should, and then we'd run it for a couple months and plug our holes in it between, you know. And I do a very good job, in my opinion, of talking to the guys on the floor that are using that day to day, you know, try to get their opinions and get their insight on it and get them bought into it, you know. They get to put their opinions and what they see flaws and great, and not we can kind of build something great as a team together.
Nice.
So just find the hole, pluck it, run it for a couple months, and then go finalize it, you know, with a couple things, and then on to the next. So
yeah, it's a lot of systems and processes orientation, because there's so many steps that have to happen, from the way you greet the customer when they show up to how you do an incoming inspection on the aircraft to know what you're dealing with, and making sure you have the right work scope. And then during the process of making sure you have the right manuals, the right equipment, the technician has experience on whatever this problem is. You know, if you just leave all that up to chance, there's a lot of stuff that falls apart. So it takes a lot of back-end diligence and documentation to make sure you're checking all these boxes, because despite how many technician shortages may be or anything else, we never compromise safety. So if it's that tough phone call to the customer of, hey, I'm sorry, you're going to have to replace X, Y, and Z, or it's going to take a couple of days longer, we won't put out a product that's going to put somebody in danger for any financial gain. So it's all about the systems and processes and procedures and all that, so that the end result, you know, our moniker that we use in our shop is, we won't put anybody in an airplane that we wouldn't put our kids on. So
nice.
And that's kind of the litmus test. Would you let your kid go fly on that airplane? And if the answer is no, then we're not giving it to a customer. Same thing goes with the pilots. Would I let my kids fly with this pilot? Maybe, maybe not. Then you probably shouldn't be putting your customers with that pilot.
Yeah.
Not probably. You shouldn't. If you're not willing to kind of litmus test that with yourself on who you would allow to be in the aircraft, then there's no financial gain in the world that would ever get me over knowing I put somebody in an unsafe situation. And we keep that culture pretty heavy through our whole company, and aviation in general does a pretty good job of it. There's a lot of them that I could point fingers at and say I don't quite agree with their philosophy on it, and I feel like our standard is above average on it.
Because you're allergic to average.
I'm allergic to average.
That was for you, Matt.
I just love what he's doing with everything, on all of it. Like, need to blow that brand up all over the place, because it's,
Heck yeah.
you know, the clothing brand, like, you know, like we talked about on the podcast, it's whatever, it's a clothing brand, but the message behind it and the logo and all of that is what, and it makes people see that, like, what the hell's allergic to average? And it's just kind of twisty enough that you're like, makes you wonder what the heck is that about, and then you go and check on it, and You're like, that's cool.
It's got a good hook for sure.
Yeah.
Did you know he got a cease and desist letter from American Airlines about his logo?
Because of the 2 A's?
Yeah. He had to like go through all this rigmarole of like, look, I'm not trying to infringe on your logo. It's a totally different thing, blah, blah, blah. And finally they backed off. Left it alone. I was like, that's hilarious.
Cease and desist, man.
I will say, like, as I've hung out up at the hangar in the offices and stuff, like, dude, everybody seems pretty happy, man. And like, people are working, they're purposeful, but they don't seem stressed. Like, it's really impressive, man.
We're trying.
Nicely done.
It's a huge driving force for me and Robin is to build a company that people want to be at, and people want to be there and not. You know, we got into that whole thing with Daniel Kramer on the non-competes and the fear tactics and all that. We're definitely not down for that, especially in a safety-sensitive environment. You got people there that don't want to be there, and they're there begrudgingly. I feel like pilots and mechanics have a exceptionally high integrity bar where they're not very easy to apply with financial gain either or anything else. So the chances of them doing anything nefarious are super, super low. But the more disgruntled they are, the more that goes up. So it's that culture and that work environment is part and parcel to the safety aspect of the aircraft. And if they're there and they're happy and they're proud of their work, they're going to put out a better product just naturally. So
right.